Good afternoon and welcome to the August 20th, 2025 Technical Review Committee hearing. My name is Anna Barge and I'm the Senior Planner with Oldham County Planning and Development. The purpose of this meeting is to review proposed subdivisions, zoning map amendments, and development plans before going on to Planning Commission if they're required to. This gives local agencies and utility companies that will provide services the opportunity to review plans, discuss and comment about the accessibility of services, and ensure all aspects of development plans adhere to zoning and subdivision regulations. This meeting also provides adjoining property owners and concerned citizens in attendance the opportunity to ask technical questions of applicants or agencies represented before you. We will allow a combined 20 minutes of time for these comments for each docket item. No testimony in favor or against an application may be taken at this meeting, and no decisions are made at this meeting. Keep in mind this meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, and the recorded meeting will be posted on the Oldham County Fiscal Court Facebook page and the Oldham County Fiscal Court YouTube page. If you need to have conversation among people around you or on your phone, please leave the courtroom and return when finished. Please check your phone to ensure it's silenced to reduce interruptions. We have 5 items on the docket today. The first docket is TRC-25-013 Pure Pickleball. One note before we ask the first applicant to come up, just to all applicants, when providing the plans, please provide them in a folded form like this. It just makes for planning and development side a little bit easier for us logistically if you can provide them folded like LD&D did. Gold star to LD&D today. Anyway, so that's just my one announcement. So now it's time for the applicant or their representative to come forward and give a brief overview for the Pure Pickleball item.
Well, Carl Lentz with LJB, 2373 Armstrong Lane, Mount Washington, 40047. Like I said, I'm the representative for Pure Pickle, the indoor pickleball facility. I've got a little PowerPoint together. I know this committee, this hearing is more technical in nature. So, I mean, what I've got here is just some aerial stuff to go through and just, show you where it's at and some zoning maps and stuff like that. So, TRC 2513 Pure Pickle indoor pickleball facility. My first slide here is just the overview of the site. It's in an industrial area. It's off Commerce Parkway, just southeast of the city. It is in the LaGrange city limits. Here's more close-in aerial photography. It's a vacant lot in the CW Park Industrial Subdivision. This subdivision was developed in late 2006. Like I said, just some of the adjoining properties. You got a construction company to the north. There's a contractor's business to the east, a warehouse industrial building to the south, and some other industrial stuff to the west. This is a zoning map here. Everything, like I said, we're I-1. Right behind us to the west is the IPD, so we have no adjacent residential or anything. It's all industrial zoning. This is a site street view. Like I said, this is a vacant lot now. We've got some trees along the left side that are going to remain. There's a drainage ditch in the back. This intermittent blue line stream. We're going to stay out of that, so those trees in the rear are also going to stay. This is the property. There's to the north. That's the construction company. Just sort of idea what's going on out here in this industrial subdivision, the types of buildings. This is just to the south. This is the industrial building. It's more of a warehouse to the south, sort of similar to the same type of the style building that we were proposing to construct. This is across the street. This is a contractor shop. Again, another a metal building, sort of similar to what we're proposing. And this is behind us on the other side of the tree line. Again, a metal building. This is the site plan for our site. Our site is 1.92 acres. We're proposing a 25,000 square foot building for a pickleball facility. Ms. Hartman, representative, the owner, she's going to be running the business. If there's any business, questions about the business, whatnot, hours, she'll be glad to answer those after I finish up my technical presentation here. Just going through the vehicle use area, 23,000 square feet. We've required 1,100 square foot of ILA. We're providing 2,000. Trees required, I believe we're required 5 or 6. We're showing 12 on the site development plan. The site has no impervious now, so it is a 49,000 square foot increase in impervious, 59% lot coverage. Been talking to Mr. Silliman a little bit. This site is stormwater detention has been taken care of towards the south of the site, down by 71 when this project was developed. So we're not having to do any type of on-site stormwater detention, just some stormwater quality stuff. Again, parking requirements, we use the tennis center per the zoning ordinance because we don't have a specific pickleball use. We're looking at 8 courts, 2 employees, and some spectator seating of 700 square foot. Our minimum is 47, the maximum is 73, and we're showing 50 spaces. Let's see. We are requesting a variance. We'll have to go through the Board of Adjustments for the City of LaGrange for the building to encroach 15 foot into the 35-foot side yard setback on the south side of the property, and I'm showing here. And there was actually a variance granted to Bluebill Creamery, which is right across the street back in 2006 for the exact same variance we're asking for. All right. Here's the style of the building again. This is the elevation views, typical metal industrial building. This is from the architect, sort of like it looks like to me they're gonna do an ash gray type siding with the evergreen wainscot, and evergreen colored roof. East elevation, north elevation, south elevation, and the west elevation. This is where the storefront was going to be. This is actually in the rear of the building, so we're going to be parking on the side and parking mostly in the rear to keep the green space between the building and the road. And this is the layout of the building. We got a small little concessions area here, 8 pickleball courts, restrooms, a small office, and I think we may have some type of mezzanine here over top of the bathroom area for some spectator waiting and whatnot. Any technical questions, I'll be glad to answer. If there's any business questions, Ms. Hartman, I'll be glad to answer them also.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to agency comments. We're going to start with John Hine, Planner 1.
Good afternoon. Based on the plans I reviewed dated July 18th, here are my comments. Please note whether there are any areas of steep slope, those of over 30%, and add the following site statistics: acreage in street right-of-way and amount of open space. Please include the size of water mains and sanitary sewers on your final plans. Correct the zip code for the property owner. Include the notation of stormwater flow, and that a landscaping and lighting plan will be required prior to construction. I also have comments from agencies that are unable to attend, from Scott Treese with LaGrange Utilities. My comment for this project is that sewer infrastructure is in front of the lot along Spencer Court, and there is capacity to serve the property. This is Oldham County Water's area to serve water. From Tim Probus with KU, LG&E KU, he just says he has no comments.
Okay. Now Matt Toller, GIS.
I don't have any comments. It already has an address assigned to it.
Jim Silliman, County Engineer.
Right, so you already mentioned the stormwater, and we discussed that the regional basins that were built years ago satisfy the volume capacity, and you do show the water quality unit being placed there at the southwest side, so you're aware of those requirements. When you're ready to submit construction drawings, of course, you'll submit those drawings to my office for review, along with a stormwater quality management and erosion control permit, since this is over 1 acre, and you'll also need to get the KYR10 permit for that same acreage disturbance. I think we did discuss the traffic volume that's generated here, whether you're looking at it based on the number of courts or the square footage of the building as a tennis court racket club. It does rise above the 20 trips generated to require a traffic assessment. It doesn't hit the 100, so it doesn't require a traffic impact study. What we were talking about earlier, I think you were asking about maybe getting a copy of the Commerce Parkway study we completed recently. Typically, to obtain those, if you'll just fill out an open records request to my office, and we'll get you a copy of that. For your information, it's in what we'll say the final draft form. I haven't heard any comments from City of LaGrange or Oldham County Fiscal Court to make any further revisions to what was presented by QK4 a few months ago. So it's virtually complete. And we intend to adopt that as a guidance document in the near future, but right now it's just, like I say, in that final draft form. Other than that, so typically within the city, sidewalks are required. John, I don't know if I didn't hear if you mentioned that, but there are no sidewalks on any of Spencer Court, so I think we just need to get concurrence from the City of LaGrange that that requirement's waived because of the adjacent properties and further. So.
Thank you. Now to Chief Sisler, LaGrange Fire.
The building, I believe the building will be sprinkled, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh.
yes, sir.
That helps.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if that's the case, then I'm going to need a fire hydrant close to where the riser is going to be.
Okay. Been talking where the fire vault goes with Mr. Rose, so we'll get the MEP together and definitely do that. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Russ Rose, Oldham County Water.
Sure. So like Scott said in his letter, the property is in the service area of the Oldham County Water District. And although we've not reviewed any final construction plans at this time, water service must be made available as required by the Kentucky Public Service Commission. And that's just contingent upon the developer installing any necessary infrastructure, both inside and outside the development. And that's in accordance with all Oldham County Water District specifications and any other regulatory agencies. So we've already had some initial conversations. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the agency comment portion. Now for the public question period. If anybody has any questions that are technical in nature, they can come up now. Please make sure you speak into the mic and say your name and address. No one? Okay. John will provide the comments to you, and we will move on to the next item, which is going to be TRC-25-014, Crestwood Station relocation for Chase Bank, located in the 2700 block of South Highway 393. So the applicant is coming up to do their brief presentation. Thanks.
James Hillard, BHDB Architecture, will be the architect of record for this project. Yep.
All over.
Yep. James Hillard, BHDB Architecture, will be the architect of record on this project. Madison Tucker from Bear Becker is going to be our representative today. She'll be able to answer more of the civil questions for where we're at in this process.
Yeah, I'm Madison Tucker from Bayer Becker. We didn't provide any sort of presentation. Is that okay?
Yes, you can just give a brief audio
Okay.
overview of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was a little
was-
bit more fancier than most people do anyway.
So that
so.
was my intention. Excuse me. So this site is on the corner of Commerce Parkway and Highway 393. It is a 1.89 acre site, and it's currently vacant. It's just mainly grass and underbrush currently. The proposal is for a 3,432 square foot Chase Bank with a drive-through window. We are proposing 28 parking spaces, which is larger than the maximum, so we are intending to go in for a waiver for that. And then the bypass lane for the drive-through is also within the 50-foot setback. So we're going to go in for a variance. So, but we're getting through this part first. We are proposing a detention basin on site to handle all the stormwater capabilities. It's going to be completely private, so we don't have to get any like permits publicly for that. Let me see. We're going to have a sanitary connection and like do all utilities on site as well. So that should be covered. We did submit a traffic assessment already. So if there's any questions on that, I'm prepared to answer. And I'm trying to think if there's any other items. If you have any questions about like the facade, James will be able to handle that. But that's kind of the main scope of this. There is also a proposed easement on the site for the site that's like behind it is an industrial park. So we already have that in the plans. But yeah, I think that's kind of the main overview.
Thank you. We'll now start with Sandy Rogroden, Planner 1.
Hi. Okay, so number 1 is combine all required elements of the technical review committee checklist into one page/sheet. They were in several different ones. So
Okay.
handed in. Note the pavement width and right-of-way width of proposed and existing streets, driveways, and parking areas. Note whether there are any areas of steep slope over 30%. Add stormwater flow. Add the statistic table to include total acreage and subdivisions, acreage and street right-of-way, existing zoning, total area, amount of open space lot coverage, number of parking spaces required and provided. And number 6 says, please clarify if you'll be applying for variances or waivers, which you've just done. And then I have comment from Jason Richardson from Transportation Engineer Supervisor, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. It says, assuming the proposed shifted entrance to this development lines up opposite the proposed entrance to the Wawa development, and it looks like it does comparing the two plans, I have no comment.
Okay, thank you.
And then I'll let Russ handle the water since he's here. That's it.
Yeah, thank you.
So now from Matt Toller, GIS.
I'll just be assigning the address. So if it gets approved, you just get with my office and then we'll just handle it that way.
Perfect, thank you.
I mean, it depends. With residential stuff, we normally do it where the front door faces is what that is, but yeah, I mean, we have numbers on either side, so it won't be an issue. We'll just, it'll be up to you to decide. I mean, but it doesn't matter to me.
Jim Silman, County Engineer.
So similar to the previous docket item, since you're over the 1 acre land disturbance, will be required to submit your plans for approval along with the stormwater quality management and erosion control permit to my office. You'll also need the KYR10 permit from the Division of Water. I think we talked about this. There is a blue line stream on the site. If you are proposing any impact to that stream, you'll be required to provide any permitting or coordination from the Army Corps of Engineers and the Division of Water.
Okay.
If you're not impacting it, it's not an issue.
Yeah,
So
sounds
we just
good.
need to see with the final plans. We did receive a more extensive plan set than we get often for the TRC stage, so I do have some additional comments because it's got more detail. If you could update all the utilities to be the local utilities, there were some other regions within the plans just need to be corrected, and there's some keynotes to be updated. With regard to the stormwater detention, you'll design that in accordance with our current ordinance, which requires the 50, 10, and 1% stormwater or rain event design, as well as the water quality requirements. I think, was there a forebay included on that?
Yeah, I did include a forebay.
We'll want to look at, have you look at some type of subsurface drain in there just to ensure that the forebay doesn't stay damp so it drains properly. Look into that. Add a note that there are no trees permitted within the 100-year water surface elevation for the basin. And then you'll need to encompass the detention basin with the stormwater or drainage easement. And before we release the erosion control permit, when the project is done, what we'll do is ensure that you've also recorded that easement with a stormwater management maintenance agreement
Okay.
with the county clerk. Sandy and I were looking at this with regard to the entrance. It appears that you've aligned it with the future entrance for the Wawa
Yeah, that
site
was the
across the
intent.
street. So
Yes.
we just want to ensure that those center lines line up.
Okay.
And then any restoration that's required to the multi-use path that's already there would be required on your site.
Okay.
When you build the entrance. And you've already provided the traffic assessment. There's a turn lane there already provided, left into the Wawa and left into your site, so we didn't see any need to go further than that at this point. And then there's some other maybe more detailed comments I'll provide to you with a letter
Yeah. Sounds good.
later today. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, Chief Sitzler.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, the building is not going to be sprinkled, correct?
No. Non-sprinklered.
Okay. And I'll need a fire hydrant by the entrance going into the bank.
Okay. Yeah, I can add that.
Okay, Russ Rose, Oldham County Water.
Sure. So the property does lie within the service area of the water district. We've not reviewed construction plans at this time, but again, water service must be made available as required by the Kentucky Public Service Commission, contingent upon the developer installing any necessary infrastructure, both within and/or outside the development site, in accordance with the water district specifications and any other regulatory agencies. So just get with me. We can talk about the size of service and where that might want to be located.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes agency comments. Do we have any public questions? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Well, that concludes TRC-25-014, and Sandy will give you her notes. And we will move on to TRC-25-015, 706 Jericho Road rezoning, located at 706 Jericho Road.
If you guys will give me 1 second.
Okay, we are ready for the applicant presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Neil Salyer. I'm an attorney with Bramall Law here in LaGrange at 401 West Jefferson Street, LaGrange 40031. This is, of course, docket TRC 25-015. It's our rezoning request for property located at 706 Jericho Road. So I put together this quick presentation, and we will get through this pretty quickly. A lot of this stuff I don't think you guys care about, but this map here is a proposal of what the goal is, which is after rezoning to turn the single parcel into two and put single family homes on it. So you'll see here the property again at 706 Jericho Road is here on the corner. The parcel itself is a vacant lot, about a half an acre. It's currently zoned I-1 for light industrial. The requested change is to go from I-1 to CN, commercial neighborhood. Again, break it into two parcels. And the plan for the CN is to allow the flexibility that comes with that. So you can either have a single family home or professional neighborhood businesses like attorney's offices, accounting offices, real estate offices, things like that. So you can see here is a screenshot. I'm sorry. Right here is the property, and you can see all around it is a combination of industrial and residential, various components. This property, just to give everybody an understanding, is just to the east of downtown, just south of the railroad. And if we look, if I had zoomed out a little bit from there, while there is no CN immediately around this, getting back into downtown LaGrange, there is some CN, probably within, I'd say, a mile, if not closer than that. So the goal of the CN here, again, I think adapts well with the various residential and industrial components around it, and with CN being close to it. This is blown up a little bit to show you a little bit better as to what the goal and the plan is for this if the rezoning occurs. This, again, is Jericho right here. The front of the property, if we think about Jericho being the front, is a little bit wider than the rear, but the goal, again, to break this single parcel down into two independent parcels. We all know what light industrial is. We have vehicle repair shops in the area, contractor storage, warehouses, and so forth. The problem is, based on what my clients would like to do, it's not really compatible based on setbacks, based on the requirements and the goal of putting single-family homes on this property. So the proposal for CN, it follows with the plan. Section 140-010 actually states that CN zoning may also be appropriate for new construction where a mixture of businesses and residential use is found to conform with the comprehensive plan and any other master plan covering the area. Again, permitted uses for CN, single family, two family, or multifamily dwellings. There is an apartment complex that is just on the edge of 500 feet that we actually sent out notices to for this. So again, it follows with what the master plan for the area is, and the development scale fits much more with what the goal is that my clients would like to do. Again, we have low impact businesses here with the CN. We don't have heavy industry. We don't have, semis coming in for deliveries and so forth. We're talking about law firms, accounting offices, real estate offices, in the event that it did change from residential to commercial based on what the need of the time was. It just gives them that flexibility. So here's an example. Or a couple of examples. So here on the left, the color pictures, those are pictures that Fall City Contracting, who actually owns the property now, these are pictures of a home that they built over on Monroe, 800 Monroe? 800 Monroe. They're looking at doing something very similar to that on the proposed site with the thought, if they wanted to do a home with an attached garage, again, it would be very similar to this, size-wise, less than 1,500 square feet, single story, but potentially, provide an option for a garage. They haven't made that decision yet, just based on what the final approvals are and what it would look like as far as the layout of the property is concerned. Again, we believe the CN designation, moving from I-1 to CN, follows with Oldham County's ordinances. It matches what's going on in the community, considering it would be essentially a buffer between residential to the south and the west, and then industrial really to the east and the north. In closing, it seems that CN's a common sense solution for the property. It allows both homes and neighborhood serving offices, like we talked about, maintains the residential character that it'll back up to on the residential component or the residential side, and it does provide that buffer between residential and industrial use. In closing, we'd respectfully request the approval of the rezoning to CN for the highest and best use of this property. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with the agency comments, myself this time. The following comments apply to the Oldham County Planning and Development review of the plans dated June 15th, 2025 for the Jericho Road rezoning project submitted for TRC review. 1, note plans for encroachments existing and proposed. Note whether there are any areas of steep slope over 30%. Indicate which features will remain and which will be removed. Note the location, height, and floor area of proposed buildings. Add a notation regarding the location and elevation of the 100-year floodplain. If not within the 100-year floodplain, please note this. Verify that the stormwater flow is indicated on the plan. Note the number of single-family lots. Correct the notation regarding the proposed zoning on proposed Tract A and proposed Tract B. Add a legend that includes graphical and written explanation of all symbols and labels, and note whether any variances or waivers will be needed, whether or not. So that was all of my comments.
Thank you.
And then for Jason Richardson from KYTC, there shall be no direct access from either track to KY 2853 Jericho Road. We did not review further. And then Delana Gideons from LG&E. I will not be in attendance. LG&E has no comment at this time. And then from Scott Treacy, thank you for this information. Tract A will need an easement through Tract B to access the gravity sewer main. And then since this is right on the border of the LaGrange city limits, just outside, I went ahead and sent to some LaGrange agencies, even though just so they're aware. And so once LaGrange Public Works realized they're not in the city limits, they had no comments. So that is all of my comments. We'll go on to Matt Toller, GIS.
I don't have any comments for the zone change. As far as like the single-family residences, they'll just be addressed off of that Kindwell Lane or whatever that. The addresses will come off of that Kidwell Lane. Yes. So we'll just address them at the time that they get built.
Jim Silliman, Oldham County Engineer.
I think since this is a zoning change, it'll go to Planning Commission, right? I think between then and now, I'd just like to make sure we're comfortable on what the potential professional use might be. You know, in the application, it mentioned the 2 single-family dwellings, which wouldn't increase any, traffic or infrastructure needs there. But we can just have further conversations to make sure that we've got that nailed down before Planning Commission, so they're aware of what they're looking at. Yes, sir. The plat shows 30-foot right-of-way. Is that, are you sure, is that already dedicated, or assuming since it's drawn that way it is? Or is that a proposed dedication? If not, we can find it out.
I think it'd be proposed dedication.
Okay. In the existing frame building, is there intent to remove that? So that's just a current shed on the property. Can you come to the microphone, please? Sorry.
And make sure you state your name and address.
Luxo. And that's just a current shed, rough dimensions, maybe 8 by 20 feet long. And it's a shed that's going to be torn down.
What's that?
It's a shed that's going to be torn down.
It is going to be torn
Yes,
down.
sir.
Okay,
That's
good.
correct.
Because if it's in the right of way, just wanted to.
Yeah, there used to be a home there on the property, and that was just the shed that came with the house. But yes, sir.
And then if you can just provide the address for the record, your address, your business address.
Yeah, 1018 Esker Loop.
All right, thank you.
My questions, yeah.
Okay. Chief Sitzler?
No comment.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Chief.
And then I have all of your comments that I read in here. Do we have any public questions? Okay. Well, that concludes the TRC-25-016. We'll now move on to I just said 016, I meant 015. Now we'll move on to TRC-25-016, Paramount Estates Subdivision Edition, Lake Stone Way and Paramount Way, whichever one it is.
All right. Ms. Barge, members of the committee, good afternoon. Mike Swansburg and Smith, 117 West Main Street, right here in LaGrange. I've got the honor of representing Paramount Limited, which is the applicant in this relatively small subdivision plan that we're talking about adding on to the existing Paramount subdivision over off of 42 in the west portion of the county. I don't have a presentation for anybody today. Obviously, we're happy to answer any questions and receive any feedback from the committee members. In addition to myself, I've got Mike Hill and Eric Sen, right, from LD&D. They're the engineers on this project, and they will be more than happy to answer any technical questions of which I'm not qualified to answer, which is probably most of them. So with that, at this point, I'll go ahead and sit down and receive any information that you all might have.
Okay, great. Well, I will, or do you have any? Oh, yeah, I have it on the computer. It's in that folder. Okay.
Just going to at least put this up so we have something to refer to. So we have an overall there, and then just the rendering. So just to give an idea where everybody, where we're at, Highway 42 over here, Paramount, entrance into Paramount Estates, existing Paramount Estates subdivision. These 8 yellow lots are new proposed residential building lots. They range from 7/10 to a little over an acre in size. They have direct frontage on existing streets within Paramount Estates, Lakestone Way for these 5 lots, and then Paramount Way for these 3 lots. And then our rendering, a little more detail. Yeah, sure. And again, this is Mike Hill with Land Design and Development, 503 Washburn Avenue, Louisville, 40222. So that's really it as far as the summary of the layout of what's being proposed. These lots kind of have always, lended themselves to maybe being developed in the future, considering they have direct frontage on Paramount Estates streets currently. So the developer or the property owners decided that now's a good time to divide these off. The size of the lots is comparable to existing lot sizes throughout Paramount Estates. So the intention or the goal is to actually have these lots accepted into the HOA of Paramount Estates, and they'll follow the same rules and regulations as the existing developed lots within the subdivision. Happy to take any questions or comments, and your comments, obviously.
Thank you. We'll start with my comments. So the following comments apply to the Oldham County Planning and Development review of the plans dated July 10th, 2025 for the Paramount Estates Addition project submitted for TRC review. Number 1, add the right-of-way information for Autumn Court. Include the proposed building lines showing the distance setback from the street right-of-way. Note whether there are any areas of steep slope. Correct the contour lines to be 5 feet. Indicate whether wood fence will remain or if it's to be removed. Add a notation regarding the location and elevation of the 100-year floodplain. If not within 100-year floodplain, please note this. Verify that the stormwater flow is indicated on the plan. In the site statistics, add the street right-of-way. The open space in the site statistics does not match the open space on the plan. So on that southwestern portion of the plan where it says the open space doesn't match. So just review that, and maybe I missed something. So please resolve that. And then add a legend that includes graphical and written explanation of all symbols and labels. Note whether there will be any waivers or variances and will be needed either way. Please, I have one adjoining property owner just update to make. And then for other agencies, Louisville Water has the following comments. So they do have infrastructure near the development. This does not constitute an approval for service for existing infrastructure or for existing water main, or a determination that a water main extension will not be required to serve the serve the development. A property is eligible for water service only when it resides in the Louisville Water retail service area and abuts a public right-of-way, public water easement, or other public utility easement within which a company water distribution main is located. An approved new service application is required to obtain service, and then it has just the contact information and the nearest main size of 6 and 8 inches in the water pressure zone of North Oldham 840. So then Chief Sohan from North Oldham Fire Department said the fire department has no objection to this since there is adequate water supply from Louisville Water Company. We have tested the hydrants in this location in the last month. And then same comments from LG&E, no comment. And then that's Delana Gideons again. The project, so Kim Lokley from MSD is the project will need to submit a downstream facilities capacity request to MSD to verify sanitary sewer capacity downstream and pay any applicable fees prior to construction approval and connecting to the MSD sanitary sewer system. So those are all the comments. We'll now move on to Matt Toller, GIS.
I already sent Dave Winkler what the addresses are going to be for this phase, so I don't have any other comments.
Jim Silliman, County Engineer.
We discussed a lot of this at our June 27th pre-app. Fairly simple. I think since it is would be considered part of a common plan development, since you're planning on making it part of, or the developer is wanting to make it part of Paramount Estates, go ahead and submit your plans with the stormwater quality management and erosion control permit, even though, again, it'll be greater than an acre. And then our discussion about the stormwater, just need to substantiate that the stormwater detention that's provided for the existing subdivision accommodates these new lots. Be fine.
Okay, Michael Williams, Oldham County Board of Education.
So serving schools would be Goshen, North Middle, North High. Based on the capacities on that campus, you would get 35 per year. So with as few as you have, you will get the whole lot.
Okay, thank you. Now, Chief Sitzler. Oh, wait, that's not even in your district. But, if you have any fun comments to add, you're more than welcome.
No comment.
Okay. Okay, now we'll move on to any public questions. Okay, it looks like we don't have any public questions. So that concludes Paramount Estates. Here's your comments. Okay, so now we'll do TRC-25-017 Commerce Contractor Office Park, 1000 block of Commerce Parkway, and this is a rezoning request.
And good afternoon, large members of the committee. Again, Mike Swansburg, 117 West Main Street here in LaGrange. For purposes of the record, honor of representing, if I can close all these tabs, yep. Both Gulfstream Development as well as TriStar Construction and Development, who I would say are essentially co-applicants on this case. This is a project to change the zone and a development plan for essentially what I would call an isolated island of R2 along a stream of C3 right there on Commerce Parkway within the city limits of LaGrange. Again, I don't have a presentation for purposes of today. I do have with me, however, Jason Baker, who's engineer on this plan and would be able to answer any technical questions, in addition to representatives from both entities, Gulfstream and from TriStar, in the event that you all have any questions for the applicant / owner / developer in this case. And at this point, again, Mr. Baker, I don't know if you have anything you want to present otherwise, but we're really here to get information and make sure that we've got that for purposes of applying to be heard by the Planning Commission. So with that, I'll stop talking and listen to what kind of comments you guys have. Thanks, Ms. Park.
Okay, thank you. So my comments are the following, and they apply to the July 21st, 2025 plan. Hopefully that date's right, so sorry if it's not. For the Commerce Contractor Office Park project submitted for TRC review. Number 1, add Oldham Oaks Road on the north, just so it'll be easier. So it's like denote that that's Oldham Oaks. Note whether there are any areas of steep slope. Even if there's not, we just like to have that on the plan. Correct the contour lines to be 5 feet. Verify that the stormwater flow is indicated on the plan. I think it was in the legend, but I couldn't find it physically on the plan. Add a legend that includes graphical and written explanation of all symbols and labels, specifically areas of substantial existing trees, because I think that was noted, it just wasn't in the legend. Note whether there will be any waivers or variances asked for. Indicate in the site statistics whether the ADA parking spots are additional or exist within that total calculation. So if you can just clarify that in your plan. And then I have one adjoining property owner correction. And I'll give you these when I'm done. So Scott Tracy, Director of LaGrange Utilities Commission, said, "We do not have any issue with the zoning change. There is existing infrastructure along the property to serve water and sewer." Corey Rusnak, from Director, City of LaGrange Public Works. My comments are below. Rezoning for this parcel will come before the LaGrange City Council for approval. Any encroachment to Commerce Parkway will require a permit from our office. An application for encroachment permit can be obtained in person at City Hall or on the city's website. So those are all the comments I have. We'll move on to Matt Toller, GIS.
Are there going to be suites in every one of these buildings? And do you have any idea like how many they're going to be, or because due to the amount of buildings, I'd probably just think of a road name that you guys want to use, and then we'll address all these buildings off of that.
Yeah, they anticipate, I need to speak. My name's Jason Baker, 1535 Frederica Street, Owensboro. We would anticipate that there will be suites in these. The concept is it would be a suite, some warehouse space, possibly in one of the back buildings. So yes, we anticipate there being suites in each building.
Yeah, so just think of a road name, and if you need a list of all the streets, we just make sure that we're not duplicating it anywhere else in the county, and it doesn't sound extremely similar to something that already pre-exists, just for dispatch purposes.
Okay.
And as far as the addresses go, I mean, we'll address every building, and then depending on how many suites there are, we can do that as people are buying the suites. So,
Jim Silliman, County Engineer.
So the land disturbance greater than an acre, so you'll get the KYR 10 permit from the state and submit your construction plans to my office with a stormwater quality management and erosion control permit. With that, you'll include calculations and drainage justifications for your basins. Of course, designed to the 210 and 100-year storm per our ordinance, and then since at least one of the basins is discharging to the 71 right-of-way, I-71 right-of-way, the state requires the 25-year event also be analyzed. Our ordinance includes water quality requirements, so include those in the calculations and design. With regard to the access, at our pre-app meeting a few months ago, we talked about the two entrances. I think at that time we were in the process of wrapping up a Commerce Parkway traffic study. Part of that study we discussed included the desirable spacing of encroachments on the roadway. Really, according to that study, we'd rather have one opposite the road going into, I think it goes into Oldham Acres. I know you've shown the two because of circulation. This is in the city of LaGrange, so I think we just need to continue the conversation and with Corey Rusnick, the Public Works Director, and make sure we're all in agreement on what the layout of the entrances are going to be before it's finalized and before the Planning Commission. Okay. Similarly, when we talked that pre-app, I think I'd looked at the traffic generation for this, the trip generation, just as warehousing, but you had mentioned that there's going to be kind of a retail aspect for part of it. So I don't think the plans indicated the separation or ratios of those. So if you can just indicate, let me know what those are, and we can come up with a more accurate trip generation and decide and determine what we need to do or what we need to request for you for traffic study requirements. There are, I believe there are two jurisdictional wetlands, or at least map blue line streams on the property. So, any impact of those require Army Corps of Engineers and Division of Water permitting and coordination. Basins should be encompassed by drainage easements. And what we'll do is before we release the erosion control surety that you post for construction, we'll ensure that you've recorded those easements with the stormwater management and maintenance agreement with the county clerk.
And if I may, Mr. Silman, I know you indicated before in a previous application about possibly identifying the types of businesses or industries or whatever it might be that might be in the property, and we've kind of talked about that and that will be a discussion point as well that we'll be able to hopefully. It may not be specific companies or specific entities per se, but in terms of identifying like the types of businesses that might be in there, for example, that before Planning Commission we talked about that as well.
Right, and that's all we're at this stage, and I think all we're asking for, and I think all you can provide is uses, not specific tenants. So,
Chief Sitzler?
We would anticipate single-story buildings. Yes. I think the building code will, if it all gets built as 27,000, I'm sure that one will hit that threshold. They would be looking to, per the building code, comply with the building code. And so and I believe there are thresholds as far as square footage that will hit that. It's 12,000, I believe, but I'm not certain on that number. Okay.
And I have one more comment, and we kind of emailed about this. So I would like y'all to meet with the PVA and get this parcel ID situation figured out, because depending on if a minor plat has been completed and the timing and that and the recording depends on when the PVA actually gives new parcel IDs or parcel numbers. And so if you can talk to them and see if you can get that figured out, I think that'll be much easier with this process of having a single parcel ID for that specific parcel.
No, and I mean, we had that email communication, of course, and there's the difference between, I think it's A versus FGH, for example. And I know our original application said A. I think the application we're going to submit based on update is going to say FGH, but we'll work to get all that information. It's literally the same piece.
Yes.
The question is,
what's the actual, because our GIS has something different, but then also whether you use our GIS parcel or the PVA, it still shares it with the same parcel ID with neighboring parcels. Sure. And so it kind of creates a lot of confusion. So I'd like, if y'all can get that ironed out, that'd be great.
Yeah, this is not the apartment complex
across the street. Exactly. Very different use. So, okay. Do we have any public questions? Okay. Well, thank you. And that I have your comments here. Yes. And if you receive notice of today's hearing, you'll also receive notice of the Planning Commission hearing whenever they decide to go to Planning Commission. And that concludes our meeting, and the meeting will stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.